So I've invited this amazing man who's going to drive home the point that you can have all the tools in the world, but if you have a tiny, tiny little leak in your toolbox, it's going to ultimately lead in the incorrect path that you actually want to travel. So, can I see a show of hands who has been in a professional job in the acting realm? Who's worked professionally? Awesome. And would you agree that when you come out of that job, when you come straight out of a contract, you pretty much walk or have the ability to walk straight into another job? Have you ever seen that? Do you ever just look at people and go, you lucky bitch? You walk straight out of one job and straight into another job. It happens all the time. Yet the poor little buggers who are running on the treadmill and putting their heart and soul and everything they've got into their career will keep going and going and going, and it seems like so much further to the end result. It's because you're vibrating at a different rate to which those people are coming straight out of a job. So what we want to try and do is change that. Change your inner world so that you can recreate your outer world. And Travis not only talks for the corporate industry, for business, you're probably thinking to yourself, why is he here? We're not really, in the corporate world or the business world. But he's also been a comedian and he's also performed in theatre and he has that background. So amalgamating the two of those is a blessing to have him here. And I just can't wait to hear what Trav's got to say. This is the first time I've seen him talk live outside of a business setting. So I'm really excited. I want to hand you over now and shut up so that you can get as much out of him as he's here to give. So please give it up, Travis Clark.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to start it off. I'm going to try and be eloquent as you so nicely put it, and after that introduction, I better be fucking good. If I'm in front of an audience of people that do not meet me, ultimately what you're doing in the first minute and a half is actually not listening to what I'm saying. You're actually working out whether I am a tool or not. And that's okay, because guess what? When you stand in front of your customers, that's what they're doing to you. So, and I want to make a point while we've got this up. Another thing too, as a professional, what you should do is always be fully prepared. So what I've done is not being prepared, and I've just put a PowerPoint onto an Apple Mac. It's not going to work. So that's okay, because I'm going to work with it as we go along. One thing I want to point out here, and just to follow straight up what Em's just said in regards to how do people walk from one job into another job straight up, and it happens all the time. In fact, my role ultimately is a sales coach in business. How in a business can we take the strategies, the processes, the mindsets, the behaviours, the skills, the knowledge, and how can we mould them all together? Because everyone thinks there's this one thing that's going to make the big difference. There is a few things, but it's ultimately a recipe. When people go straight into a role, it's exactly the same in sales. Now, I really do want to show of hands. Who's in a sales job right now? Who's in a sales job right now? Who is in a sales job right now? It's a trick question. Every single person in this room is a salesperson, and from this point forward, you must see yourself as self-employed. If you do not see yourself as self-employed from this moment forward, you will fail. You'll miss everything that Claire and Bobby went through, and you'll miss all the different things I go through as well. In fact, in sales, there's a great saying. The best time to make a sale is straight after another sale. Why? Because you actually like yourself more. Now, I am going to use this to prompt me as we go through it. Just really quickly, I'm married to a beautiful woman called Kylie. Apparently in Aboriginal, Kylie means boomerang, so I didn't have a choice. Every time I try and get rid of her, she comes back. And we have 3 beautiful children. It's a joke. All right, and obviously... And yes, I have been in stand-up comedy before. Obviously, that worked excessively well. That's why you have got no idea who I am. And you will find that I was very good at education during the stand-up comedy. That's why I went into the facilitation role. So anytime you find something funny, that's comedy. Anytime you find something that's not funny, it's educational. All right, so we'll just go with the flow. All right, now there's a few things. I want to try and cement some of the stuff that these guys went through. I want to read you a story at the very start. Now, I actually read this every morning, and I can tell you now, my lifestyle and or where I fit or my truth has accelerated massively in about 24 months, 2 years. An elderly man in the final days of his life is lying in his bed alone. He awakens to see a large group of people clustered around his bed. Their faces are loving but sad. Confused, the old man smiles weakly and whispers, "You must be my childhood friends. Come to say goodbye. I am so grateful." Moving closer, the tallest figure gently grasps the old man's hand and replies, "Yes, we are your best and oldest friends, but long ago you abandoned us. For we are the unfulfilled promises of your youth. We are the unrealised hopes, dreams and plans that you once felt deeply in your heart but never pursued. We are the unique talents that you never refined, the special gifts that you never discovered. Old friends, we have not come to comfort you, we have come to die with you." So you have a choice when you leave today where you sit with that. And I can tell you now, and for those who may have actually had a look at it, one thing I've found more than anything else, there's something that we can't do for you. We can't do this. We can assist you. We can give you those, and we can give you the tools. We can give you the resources. You must be accountable. You must take ownership, and please be committed to actioning those things. I'm going to ask you to do one thing at the end of my session, and that's it. Just one thing, and it's basically going to fill that gap and a start for what Bobby was talking about with his workshops and what Claire can cement as well. So I want to go through these with you. Now, let's get back to this fantastic PowerPoint that I had created. Sorry, guys. Can you see me there? Beautiful.
Do you want to see if I can get it up? Right?
You know what? Many have tried. And I think that how apt if you can actually put that phallic password into the. Sorry. See.
Woo!
See, she got the memo. Okay. I love this. Aaron, can I ask why you've got an eagle as your icon? Okay. Okay, you didn't get the memo. First off, if you walk away from anything here right now, do you want one real key? Straight up. This will fast track you straight up. If you want to really accelerate your success in the chosen field that you want to pursue for the rest of your life and give back to the universe with the gifts you have right now, stop scratching with the turkeys and start flying with the eagles. Pretty simple. And yes, your friends will change. See now, this was really good. See, the way I designed this, right, was this went now, and you were really impressed, right? And then it goes, no, see, look, it's not there. It says no opportunity wasted. So really be excited by that, because ultimately, all right, so ultimately, why do I choose now? Here's the reason. We've gone through all these things, and Claire went through that, and I want to talk a little bit about what Claire spoke about her life and that, because I'm going to give you an equation very similar to what Em did before, which is really important. Everyone who's successful doesn't let the opportunity slip. You just can't do it, all right? And I would rather you do everything you can. You're going to fail. All right, let's give it as a given. You know, people like your Zig Ziglars, which it's a real name, Zig Ziglars and Brian Tracy say, if you want to accelerate your success rate, you must increase your failure rate. You must throw yourself out of your comfort zone and pursue it. And it's a great analogy where we say what we do is we look down all the time because we miss the opportunities. And I'll prove how the human body is so incredibly smart. You've got to back it. Here's a great example. If you're running up a set of stairs, which I'm not going to do now because I can only see about there because the lights are killing me. But if I was running up these stairs, I could look down and watch the steps as I'm going up. But I guarantee you, if you trusted yourself, and you should trust yourself going forwards, that if you looked at that top step or about halfway up and looked further ahead, after looking up like that, your mind will capture that. Let me prove how incredibly smart your human body is. We're talking about knowing when is the right time to do things, or when we get that no opportunity wasted. Ask you a question. When you want food, what does your body make you feel like?
Hungry.
Okay. When you want water, how do you feel?
Thirsty.
When you want to have sex, how do you feel?
Horny.
Okay, so your body's telling you something. That's not mine, that's Mel Robbins. I'm stealing her work. But I'm a facilitator, we all do it. All right, so my point is you will make a difference. Now, the reason I brought this picture up, actually, that's me. That is me. All right, so, and it was really going to be nice. I was going to say, what opportunities have you missed to be what you want to be? And the reason I put this here is, some years ago, and I have done quite a bit of TV work and radio, and stand-up comedy was kind of the next step as far as just scaring the shit out of myself. So I did have a role on Neighbours. It was really interesting. I actually walked up and walked into, my agent didn't know, I walked straight into, they were in Park Street at the time, Grundy's, and I walked in, I spoke to a lady called Natasha, and I got myself, it was a 2-day role, it doesn't matter what it was trivial, and obviously you can remember who I was, Steve Crandall, fantastic, great job he did. And the point is, after that, what I did was, I didn't keep the momentum up. I was satisfied with going, I was on TV. Woohoo! Now, don't get me wrong, that makes great stories, when my kids go to school and they go, my dad's been on Neighbours. And the point is this, though, then what I did was, and I have to tell this story, my first stand-up gig. Now, I haven't done it for some years, and it's not that I didn't love doing it, I did. This is my calling, though. Standing in front of a group of people and being able to bring you guys the areas of success, the behaviours, the habits that I've learnt that work for me and countless others is where I get my joy. The truth is that when I did my first stand-up gig, we're driving into the city. I've done a lot of theatre and I've always had great nerves. You know those nerves? Who's done a lot of theatre in the room? And when you still have those nerves where you're out the back, and I love this moment in your life because you're doing this, and I don't know if you do this, but I'm the pacer. So even with stand-up comedy, I'd sit out, and I did about 20 gigs, and I was reasonable at it, not that great. And so I'd be pacing up and down. But even in theatre, you'd get the lines and you're sitting and you're at the back, you're thinking, what the f*** am I doing? This is stupid. I'm going to stand out the front there, I'm going to make a complete tool of myself. And you're basically going to, so what you do is, but they're good nerves. You feel great, you feel really excited to be out there. I did not feel great. I felt sick for my first stand-up comedy gig. Can you imagine it? In fact, most of you now are probably feeling that right now. This is how important it is to make sure you tap into the way you feel about a situation. Now, I'm going to stand here and say, you know what? It's okay sometimes to strut, and it's okay to say to people that you're in this industry, you feel good about it, and you're going to make it. And I can tell you one thing that we've all got in common here, all right? As entertainers, performers, presenters, none of you are normal, okay? None of you are normal, okay? So I go out there and I walk behind the stage and I come in here, and it was at the Comics Lounge in North Melbourne, and there was a very scary man, I can't remember his name, Shane. And Shane come up, and Shane said, Trav, go out there, walk on the boards, and then come back out, and we won't let people, anyone been to the Comics Lounge, you know what, it's kind of like the restaurant type area. I shit you not, I walked out the back, and I was absolutely myself, and I walked out, and as soon as I stood on those boards, bad nerves gone, good nerves came back. And all I thought to myself this, and I'm not here to impress you, I'm here to impress upon you that I belonged there. I knew it. I knew it as soon as I was on that stage, and I could make a difference going forwards. So I want to go through as quick as I can. Now, as I said before, I talk really quick, and I'll try and do my very best to get all my points across so you absorb them and you can take them home and make sure you actually do something about them later on. All right, let's get rid of him. All right, so motivation is not a one-off event. It's the same reason people like Brian Tracy and Zig Ziglar's, as you can see, I'm a sales coach, talk about things. Motivation is the same as bathing. That's why we recommend it regularly, all right? Don't motivate yourself once. I'm motivated, off I trot. It's the same with keeping hydrated with water. If you think to yourself, I've really got to start committing drinking water. And you think to yourself, I'm going to drink 2 litres tomorrow. You drink 2 litres and you're in the toilet every half an hour, but you drink the 2 litres. At the end of the day, you still feel shit. That water stuff's crap. I'm not doing that again. But the next day, you feel fantastic, okay? It's not a one-time event motivation. You need to make sure you're doing whatever you can. Now, I've got people I work with who are like a personal coach. I highly recommend this. It doesn't matter if it's not a personal coach per se. It must be someone that drives you, and I'll talk to you about that in a moment. Let me talk to you about E plus R equals O. I got this off a bloke called Jim Rohn. All right? That would be an equal. All right. So here's a fact. What's going to happen is you are going to be in front of people and they are going to tell you you are not going to be part of something, okay? You've got 2 choices here. Now, can we all agree that we don't have control over every event in our life? Now, I'm going to show you how to prepare and your behaviours and skills, but at the end of the day, do we all agree that we don't have control over every event in our lives? Yes. Okay. What happens here is this. You will react or respond a certain way which will create an outcome every single time. Let's use Claire as an example. The story of what she went through, she had a choice. She could have gone to the universe. Okay? It's true, which is also a great thing about being Australian, because I think do we live in the only country in the world that when you see a mate across the road, you go, hey! Anyway, I don't know. You would have learnt that, All right, so the point is this. You don't control every event, but I can tell you what, you do have control over this. Now, if you react, you're going to be in trouble. It's the way you respond that's going to make a difference positively to you, whatever happens in this area here, and this is what we want. Now, we were talking before, Claire pointed out that it's going to take you maybe 5 years to get where you want to be. I'm going to give you a nice reality check. On average, it'll take you 7. Now, some of you in the room will be going, and it's like, who went to university and thought, you know what, okay, I didn't go to university because someone said you have to do it for 4 years. Like this 6-year course, 4 years? No way, not happening. So my point is this, I wanted things straight away. Yeah, I didn't know the things way back then that I know now, who knew? And the point is this, you can make a choice right now, tonight. In 7 years' time, you're still going to be 7 years older, yeah? So, is it... Nadia? Nadia? Now, Nadia, you've got a choice. You can be in this chair here, or you can be that chair there. It's your choice. I'm not going to be able to change that, all right? And I can tell you now that the event is only going to be determined on how you see it. If you react well to this, and I'm going to show you some techniques on how to make sure you fast track this, but at the end of the day, it's the outcome that happens. Now, you know what? You may not get the desired result of what you want now. You're going to go home, you're going to work out, okay, where I am now and where I want to be. I call it a Big Mac syndrome. Do you know what? You're going to design your life here, right? You're going to, I'm going to be this, I'm going to write it down. I highly recommend you do that, by the way. I've done this for the last 6 years of my life, and every 12 months after I write exactly what I want, I've got it. And I think it's more energy follows thought. I've just focused on it. So, and whatever you focus on is going to come back to you. So my point is, you're going to write down all your goals here. You've got to be flexible. Don't be afraid if things aren't working out here, and no, that's taking me on the wrong path, all right? Do you know what? If you're actually aiming for perfection, you're setting yourself up for failure, okay? Don't do it. At the end of the day, and the reason I call it a Big Mac, you know on the TV, like on the channel, they have the Big Mac, and the Big Mac's really pretty. It looks fantastic, it's really beautifully laid. Who's had a Big Mac lately? All right, doesn't matter though, because at the end of the day, the desired result in the end is what you get. Okay, it's the same with you guys and your roles. Now let me go through a couple of other things really quickly, and I know I'm doing this fast because it's just, if I don't do it, I'm going to forget it because I'm a man. And what happens here, I forgot to point out before, see that there? Can everyone see the purple dot? I went to a place called Up Way High. I can write fairly neatly, but I can't spell. That's my spell check button. When you all leave, it's going to check everything. All right, so go. I'm not going to talk about spelling. All right, here are the 3 areas that are absolutely key for you. P, B, and T, and I'm actually going to steal your word for T because I reckon it suits this room better. All right, anyone who is successful. Now this is what I've discovered, this is what I work with people on, and it makes a difference. People who are successful have these 3 areas. Okay? Now, I don't care what the passion is, all right? Whether it's fame, whether it's fortune, whether it's some kind of wealth, it's your passion. There's got to be an end result, but you know what? Your passion's got to have an emotional attachment to it. If it doesn't, it's lost, right? There's got to be feelings for it, all right? We were talking before, this great thing. Can everyone do it right now? Can everyone just stand up? Because I know I'm halfway through my speech and you're all starting to get a little bit leaning back doing this. Okay, everyone do this again, all right? You don't have to put your legs apart, but if that makes you feel happy, do it. Okay, now, stand here for a second. Tests have shown that whether you have full sight or no sight, if you were victorious in one particular activity, guess what you do? Neurologically, every single one in this room, every single one on this planet, except for those people that didn't turn up, have this. All right? Do you want to make yourself really... You can put them all down now. You can all sit down, sit down, sit down. Okay, if you want to feel fantastic when you go into an audition or you're doing a proposal or you want to get something, I suggest you do it for about 2 minutes. If you want to go somewhere quiet and do it, or you just want to randomly walk around and do I guarantee you, Claire's proven it works. It absolutely works because you don't have a choice. In fact, they got 1,500 clinically depressed individuals into a room and they made them all sit back in their chairs, look at the roof like this and smile. Not one of them could get depressed. It's a reality. You're all wired that way. Make sure you use it and make sure it works. Okay, so your passion is going to be a key. B is belief, but there's a few different. Is it I before E? Thank you. Okay, so go with. All right, so we don't have time to explain my spelling problems. So belief is there's a few parts to belief. The first part of belief is I've forgotten. No, the first part I'm going to go the other way around is what do you think the first part of the belief is? All right, and that's what I want to talk to you about, all right? You is going to be the most important part of whether this... Now, you know what? Not only you, but believe in not only your purpose or your passion, but believe in you and your abilities. Now, I'm going to encourage you to do... I'll explain myself now. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm going to show you different things that you must do. You must do these things. But you know what? You could prepare for the rest of your life. There's got to be one day you've got to take action, yeah? And I'm going to talk to you about this, and this is actually doing it, actioning it, and trusting yourself to do it. Now, I'm going to actually steal Claire's here, and I think it's got to be truth. And if you can find that, and you can match that, and you can match that, I don't give nothing will stop you. I'll give you a great example of that. Does anyone know a little restaurant called Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC? Sorry, for those Gen Ys in the room, KFC was Kentucky Fried Chicken. It was around the same when we had records. Records are these plastic things. Let's move on. So the point is, Colonel Sanders didn't create a restaurant called Kentucky Fried Chicken. He didn't. He had a recipe. That's it. And what he did was he went to all these chicken shops and he said, if you sell my recipe, I'm not asking you to buy it, I would like to take a percentage of. Do you know how many no's he got before he got a yes? Does anyone know? 1,009 no's. Now, no, I'm hoping you don't get 1,009 no's, don't get me wrong. But my point is that what they did is they believed in themselves, they were persistent, they pursued it, and they did the right things to make sure that they actioned it. You must do the same thing. Now, I was talking to a guy called Lockie before. I think he's actually taken off because obviously he heard what I said before. Oh, Lockie, where'd you move, mate? You can't do that to me. There you are. Now, Lockie and I were talking about, and what Lockie said was really interesting. And in my world, when it comes to actually going out and doing something and actioning something in their life, do you know what their main number one fear is? What's your number one fear of people in your world or even in the sales field? Rejection. Well, haven't you all chosen a very interesting career to go into if you've got a fear of rejection? Because it's going to happen, and that's okay. Don't worry about that. Remember, it's how you react and how you actually make a difference going forwards. Oh, now, this is a great example. See, when the brain actually clicks in. All right. Because what's going to happen here, you're going to go through this, and you're going to go through your reactions or your response, and you're going to have your outcome. And there is one thing that's going to stop you, and it was said so delightfully earlier on with Claire's presentation. You've got to decide right now, what is the bullshit that is getting in the road of you being successful? Now, you know what that is because you've already heard what these guys have said that you must do to be successful or how to try and get there. And I guarantee you there'll be some of you in the room have gone, yeah, but that doesn't work for me. All right? Now, I understand that you might have a different pursuit, but what I'm saying is there are strategies that are non-negotiable. They are simply non-negotiable. And you must keep hitting them. So the bullshit could be, you know what, oh, yeah, that's good for them, but they look like this and they can do that. And you know what, if you want the skills or you want the behaviours, you want the habits, go out and find out what they are. Find out what the best of the best do and do what I do. Steal their shit and use it. All right? It's pretty simple. It really is. I'm not saying you will do it easily. I'm not saying that. These things are simple. They're not easy. Okay? Because what you do when you actually go out to action these things is you are 100% going to take yourself right out of your comfort zone. And do you know what? There's a great slide you put up. It's one of my favourite in the world. Do you remember the slide at the start where it says, this is you here, this is your comfort zone, and this is where the magic happens? That happens for a lot of people. And once again, at the end of the day, if you don't pursue and you don't want to try hard enough to get it, that's okay. It's not a crime. It's a shame, but it's not a crime, all right? So what I want to do is I want to make sure that we get this right. You've got to work out ultimately what you want. What is your outcome? Now, a lot of people do this when they go to goals, all right? Now, this is a little bit of Tony Robbins stuff, and anyone who's seen his stuff, and it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And of all the things I really love, in fact, I've got a very good friend, Mark Dobson, who is also a performance coach, works with a lot of the swimmers and athletes and so forth, and it really works, this stuff. And what I love about is a goal is fantastic because football, a goal, you kick it through the post, there's a goal. Okay, we get that. At the end of the day, what do you really want? You really want an outcome, or even more than that, how do you want to live? So let's use the analogy of dieting because it's easy. Everyone says to them, okay, you know what? I'm going to get down to 65 kilos, all right? I'm going to get to 65 kilos. Change your word tracking. I'm going to live at 65 kilos because it makes a difference. I am going to be a successful actor, performer, presenter, fill in the gap. Or are you going to live as a successful performer, actor, fill in the blank? Your choice. Okay? So you need to use that. Yes, question.
What if you have lots of goals and I know I can achieve all of them and I just don't know, it's almost confusing.
Oh. I'm not saying you should not have more than one goal, but here's what happens. What happens is, okay, let's go down the track of what Bobby started, and let's talk about if you do too much at once, what's going to happen is you're going to be a little bit premature. So my point is this, and you're going to give up. Okay, you can write down 100 goals. That's fine. If you've got 100 goals, that's terrific. What you need to do though is work out which of the goals are the higher payoffs. Because what you're doing, and you know what you'll do? Let me give you a great analogy of telesales. Now, telesales is a good one to give an analogy of this with procrastination. And you know that you've got to do, and you all know that if you want to be successful in what you're going to be doing, you are going to have to take yourself out of the comfort zone, but you know what? Those things hurt. They're going to hurt you more. And what people do is they usually go for the thing that's less fearful. I'll give you a telesales analogy. This works really good. So say you're in telesales, right, or you've got to make phone calls in the morning, and I work in the dealership world. So what they do is they go, I've got to ring 15 people, and they put it on their keyboard, and they think to themselves, you know what, I'm actually going to make that. That's going to really hurt, but I'm going to do it tomorrow morning. I get in at 8:45, I'm going to start it. So they get in at 8:45, think, fantastic, you know what, I'm not going to do that straight away. I'm going to make myself a coffee. So they go and make themselves a coffee, and they get themselves a coffee, and they see this. They see Brian comes in, he comes up with a new contract. Oh, by the way, Trav, here you go, thanks. No worries, that's fantastic. And all of a sudden, then you see Sally come past. How you going, Trav? Yeah, very good. Did you hear about Nancy? No, I didn't hear about Nancy. Nancy got pregnant. Oh my God, that's fantastic. Let's go and find out about that. So you go back and you look at that and you think it's about 9:15. They're probably just dropping the kids off at school. They can't actually call them right now. They've probably got a business meeting. So what I'll do is I'll just wait a bit and I'll put the new contract there. That's fantastic. Gets to about 10 o'clock. Oh, there's Nancy. So you go over and talk to Nancy about her new pregnancy because this is fantastic. It's a new life that's going to come in and probably not pursue their dreams either. And then what they do is you have a chat till about 10:30 and then it gets to about 11 o'clock and you can't call between 11 and 3 o'clock because everyone has 4-hour lunches. So what happens now is at 3 o'clock, you think to yourself, you know what, I can't call them now. They're picking up the kids, or you know what, they're probably having their afternoon. Oh, you know what, I'll wait till about 4:30, 5 o'clock. Okay, I'm not calling them. People are going to rate you. They're going to try and shake you. They're going to hate you. But how strong you stand right now after this day is what's going to make you, all right? So you need to make sure that whatever you're going to do is just pursue it. My answer to you is this. If it's not one goal and it's 3, that's okay. But can you please make sure they're in alignment with whatever your true purpose is or your truth, all right? Because if you don't, you will fail, okay? And if you learn from that failure and then go back and do this again, because a lot of people, what they do is they fail. What they do is they just go back and do the same behaviours, same habits. Same behaviours, same habits, same behaviours. You know what? You're just stuffing yourself up, okay? If there's a behaviour you have to change, do it. Start changing it. But you know what? It takes some time to break a habit. It really does. These are the most challenging things you'll ever do. So I'm very similar to you. I empathise 100%. What's worked for me is I might write down, 100 different goals. This year, what I want to do, let me give you some of the, I want to move into a different career outside of working for just one entity. I'm working with a few, but just one entity holistically. I want to work with all these different entities, which I'm starting already. And I also want to make sure that I get around to every V8 supercar round of the year, because apparently I'm a Ford fan, whatever, I'm a Bogan, I'm from Frankston, let it go. And I want to make sure I'm playing golf with my mates every week, and I want to make sure I'm picking up my kids and also dropping them off at school every day. I want to make sure my wife and I are going away for at least one full weekend every weekend. And I want to make sure I read a book every morning. I want to make sure that I'm listening to about at least 10 hours audio on the car every time. By the way, if you're not doing that, you're actually in a really bad space. You need to get yourself the audios that these guys are talking about. Never ever listen to the radio in your car. It's just full of shit and negative news anyway. Do you want to, or you can listen to the cricket. We're doing all right at the moment. So the point is this, make sure you use the audios. You see where my point is. I've got a million different goals. There's a million different things that I want to achieve personally, and you guys do too. You're not going to be able to achieve all of it, but just achieve the important stuff, okay? The shit that matters. Has anyone seen, Margaret Thatcher has a great, and I'm going to misquote it and I apologise, but someone was asking her about being a house mum. She goes, I will not be at home washing a teacup. One's life must matter, okay? And that's the truth. You're going to have to wash teacups now and then. I'm just saying that the point is, all right, now, okay, so fill in this. Now, we're talking about behaviours. This rolls on really nicely. We're talking about behaviours. We're talking about skills. We're talking about knowledge. And these guys are going to teach you the skills in those areas that work. Finish this sentence for me. Practice makes perfect. Okay. Not if you're doing it fucking wrong. What practice does is makes it permanent. Now, if your mindset is of a permanent nature of, you know what, I'm just going to have this bad meal this weekend and I'll start my diet tomorrow, and that happens 52 weekends of the year, you're kind of in deep. Okay? So, did I answer that? So, it's one goal. Just really focus it down. Doesn't mean, write on paper. See these things here? Generation Y, I don't know what these are. See, this is called paper. And what happens, although I do see, can you show me? Thank you. Yeah. Paper. And what happens here? Okay, so ultimately what do? You use this to write down everything that's in here. Okay, get it on paper. It really does work. This is fascinating stuff. I love it. Thank you very much. Oh, and get these pens. Sorry, these are Kilometricos. I'm not even sure if I'm going to get a free box of them, but they're fantastic. All right, they are great pens. All right, so what I want you to do is, you don't have to answer all these questions now, guys. This is not a forum where I'm going to sit here and say, okay, guys, I want you to decide right now what you're going to do for the next 5 years or for the rest of your life. It's like when I was 14, 15 years old, as a boy in school, I was a boy all the time, but as a boy in school, at 15, one thing that they said to me was, you're going to choose the subjects right now that are going to determine the rest of your life. Now, I only had one goal as a 14, 15-year-old. Anyway, I think we know. All right, so there's a few things you can do though. Write these down if you have, or put them on a notepad, or I don't care how you do this. Write down some of the behaviours. Now this is, sorry, your name? Angela, sorry. So Angela, here's a great example. You want to do your goals, but you know what? Think about some of the behaviours that are sabotaging you achieving them. One of them would be, you've got too many. Okay, I want to achieve all this. That's great, okay? And one day you might. Let's make sure whatever the important ones are. So make sure you identify those behaviours that are sabotaging you, all right? Whether it be telesales or not, you know what the behaviours are. Some of the behaviours could be, who smokes in the room? Can I have a show of hands? Who are the smokers? You're in the acting age. Are you serious? In the entertainment, we've got one smoker. That's amazing. The world has changed. You know what smokers do very well, and I apologise, I pick out the couple of smokers here, and some of you already do this. You know when things don't work? And you go and have, this is another Zig Ziglar, but I love this. This is one of my greatest quotes ever. Have you ever gone and had a private pity party? Woe is me. The universe hates me. Get over it. Move on. I'm not saying don't have the private pity party. I'm saying if you're having a private pity party, have a look at the way you're going to respond going forwards, all right? The worst is the public pity party. Well, you blame everyone in the world except for yourself. Okay, you know what the public pity party is? I didn't do it, it's got nothing to do with me. The world hates me. Move on. You must do that. It's a massive strength of character to be able to do that. All right? And if they're the sort of fundamentals you need to be, and then the things that are sabotaging you, terrific. I'm not saying this is for all of you, I'm just pointing out all the obvious stuff. All right. I've already gone through trust yourself. When it comes to mastering your craft, I'm going to reiterate what I said before. If you can't fly with the eagles, research them. Okay? You've never lived in a better era where you have got so much information at your fingertips. Okay? And I don't say this lightly. I seriously do. My wife will tell you, my wife gets on my Facebook. This is golden. She gets on board with my Facebook. She gets on my Facebook and it's got like Entrepreneur Weekly, Success Magazine, Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar. And she gets up and she goes, your Facebook's so boring. I said, well, don't get on my Facebook. All right? So the point is that the thing that has fast-tracked my learning and people I work with, and if they action these things, they are making a difference. And what they are doing is they are actually listening to things in their car that is either going to... I don't care if it's just to inspire you. That's okay. It's a bit difficult driving down the freeway doing this. But the point is, if you've got something that's going to drive you, it could be some of the stuff that these guys can link into as well. And this is the stuff I'm working with Em on my part of it as well. If they're the sort of things... But I'm talking about some of the behaviours, the skills, if you want to try something new. Look at different... Like, I cannot encourage you. You must get out to as many seminars, as many workshops, network with people as much as you can. I guarantee it will fast track where you want to be. I guarantee you. All right? And if you don't get out there and do it, it won't fast track you. But that should be one of your goals from this moment forwards, to get out there and get known by other people. The more people that know you, the better chance you've got. Look, one thing I will say, there's a myriad of different ways to do this, and I know we're talking about, the $15,000 and whatever. I must admit, I'm a massive fan of this, of being able to sit down and visualise something or an event or whatever's going to happen. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that you can't just visualise all day. All right, you can't just sit at home and say, all right, today I'm just going to visualise all day long. Because you know what? I could visualise for 8 hours a day for 14 weeks of being the greatest pianist, that's pianist, in the world. I can't play piano. So I've got to have the skills to do that as well. I've got to have the behaviours, I've got to have the knowledge as well. So do you see where I'm going with that? You need to make sure that, I'm still saying trust yourself and go for it, but I'm also saying that it's no good visualising to be something if you don't fundamentally have those skills or behaviours to do that. They can be learned. But I'm just saying that needs to be part of it. It's part of that recipe that's going to help you out as well. Here's a few tips on how to start. The most important part of your day is when the opportunity clock goes off, or the alarm clock. All right? Now, we want to talk about no opportunity wasted. Now, there's got to be a little bit done as far as preparation beforehand. It's like drinking water. You've still got to do something the night before. My point is this. When that alarm clock goes off, can I have a show of hands who hits the snooze button? Keep it up if you hit it more than once. Holy crap. All right, so my point is this. You know what? When that alarm button goes off, there's a great, if you get a chance on TED Talks, look at a lady called Mel Robbins. Okay, really quickly, Mel Robbins talks about what they call the 5-minute rule, and you know this works. Now, it doesn't mean you have to action something in 5 minutes. It means you have to write something down or do something that's going to mean an end to whatever goal it might be that you're going to choose. So the 5-minute rule is, if you don't do it within the 5 minutes, you're not going to do it. You simply don't do it, okay? And this works. I've been doing this for a long time, and it's nice when you listen to people who are experts in getting paid millions of dollars that you're actually doing the right thing, so they reiterate it for you. So, and this is like today as well. You might be doing some of these things right now, okay? That's terrific. And I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, don't focus on your strengths, all right? Let your strengths go. Let's all focus on, you know, what we should do different. I hate the word weaknesses. It's just what you should do different, and I'll show you an analogy on that at the moment. I'll do this because I'll forget if I don't, all right? You need to cement your strengths, because that could be where the key lies for you guys. Okay? Now, some people, I've got friends who have been in voiceover for some time. Don't get me wrong, Danny, great friend of mine, he's ugly. So the point is, no, he's not. He's a good-looking bloke. I love you, Danny. But he's got a great voice, so he uses that. And it's a way he does a lot of musicals. He's brilliant. So, you know, that is his key. Now, what I'd suggest you do going forward, this is a really good, and I want to come back to the body language stuff in a second. And I missed this, but this is really important. My daughter gave a speech at a particular high school. She rings me up in the middle of the day because that's what 14-year-olds do when you give them a phone. And so she gives me a call from school. Dad, things didn't work for me today. Presentation was okay, but I said, all right, can you do me a favour? Get a piece of paper. And what I want you to do is this. On one side, I want you to write, now you should do this after every presentation or audition or whatever you're doing that's going to do this even during the day at these workshops, all right? What worked today? What did I do really, really well? And you write down as many as you can. Because what normally happens here is this, right? If I said to you guys, can you all go to flip charts now, which I often do in workshops, and say, okay, write down all your strengths on one side for me. You'd all stand there and I'd probably give you 10 minutes. And you'd probably get 3 minutes in. You'd stand around looking at me going, we're done. All right, guys, write down your weaknesses. They need 25 minutes to get every goddamn weakness, because you know who's going to judge you more? Who's going to judge you worse than anyone else on the planet? You. Okay, so you've got a choice here. Let me show you an incredibly positive way to turn this around on yourself. And then what I said, can you just write down what worked for me? And she did. She wrote down what worked. I said, on the other side, and she said the same thing. Oh, do I write down what didn't work? No, you didn't. Don't write down what didn't work. You write down what you want to do different next time. This is very positive. It's like there's a guy called Marshall Goldsmith in the United States does what they call a feed-forward activity. It's absolutely brilliant. You should do it on yourself all the time. And I'm just going to write this. And what I love about this is, by doing this, it's an inspection process, all right? Now, you are more concerned about what people inspect of you than expect of you. This is true. Who's done personal training before? All right, hands up. Who worked harder when the personal trainer wasn't there? Okay, so some people do. Some people are self-driven, thank you very much. So the point is this, when you've got a personal trainer, someone whipping you, you're going to move harder, all right? So you've got a choice. You've got to start inspecting yourself, all right? Who are you kidding? You're only kidding yourself. You know, I'll just have a Big Mac. Doesn't look like the picture, but I'm going to have the Big Mac. And the point is, you're probably not doing the right thing if one of your goals is not to eat junk food anymore. So the idea of this is very, very positive. Way to start your day really positive. Get up. When the alarm goes off, get up, do something, move. You know, energy will create, you know, the motion will create energy. Tony Robbins again, you know, emotion is created by motion. Get up and move, it makes an absolute difference. You know that when we stood up at the very start where Claire got us all to stand up, like, you can feel the energy in yourself. You must do it. Dress for success, all right? You know this, and I'm going to focus mainly on the women in the room. Don't take offense, man. You know this. You know how, like, my wife she's got something important the next day. What she does, she lays out her clothes so she feels fantastic. She gets up in the morning and she changes her mind. That's okay. I get that. So the point is, women do this, and that's all right. But what she does is she still feels fantastic when she walks out that door. Men do it too. My point is that if you actually feel really good about the way you look, you know this. If you feel really good about the way you look, I think you can probably understand by the fact that I've got a Darth Vader t-shirt on. I'm sewing. What? Okay, so the point is, if you feel good, you'll make a difference, all right? Things like, before you walk into an audition or proposal, you're meeting people, smile. Just put a smile on your face. I don't care how dicky you think you look. Believe me, you will feel fantastic. Have you ever called anyone at the end of the phone and you know they're not smiling? Yeah. And you want to slash your wrists or end up in the fetal position? You know that, all right? So smile when you walk in. And do you know when you walk into a room and no one's ever seen you? They've got 3 seconds, they're going to judge you. In 3 seconds, they're judging you. That's okay. Everyone does this, every single person. Men, we don't have peripheral vision. It's not our fault, guys. We look straight at your boobs. It's not our fault. We have to, all right? Yeah, you all laugh. You don't have to do it. You can see right down here and you don't even have to budge your eyes, all right? So we know you're doing that, all right? But when you get into this room, have you ever had those moments where you walk into an audition or in that situation and you know and you see them, you're looking at them, they're going, ever had that? Yeah. How do you feel after that? Aha, you feel like they're judging you poorly. Interesting. All right. Here's the thing. When you walk into that room, if you've got something in your hand, do you know what? Hi, how are you? Fantastic. Put it down, adjust yourself a little bit and look back at them. That's giving them time to look at you. They're going to look all over you. Just let them do it. They're going to do it anyway. All right. So don't worry. But make sure you feel good about the way you're presenting yourself when you walk into that room. A few more things. All right. So preparation. Make sure you get outside your comfort zone. Now, self-talk is a really interesting one for me. Self-talk, whether you call them affirmations, self-talk, it doesn't really matter. If you're walking into, I'll give you a great sales story in the United States where a guy walked in and is now one of the top entrepreneurs in the country in regards to sales. Doesn't matter what industry he's in, but 6 months into his role, he was the #1 salespeople out of 200,000 salespeople in America. How are you doing it? He was doing all the strategies. He went through the same process. It doesn't really matter whether it be this industry, any other industry. He was following that. I said, what are you doing differently? He said, I don't know, but I do this one thing. Before I see a client, I actually sit there and I say to myself for about 10 minutes, I am the best. I can do this. I am the best. Now, it sounds really dicky when you say it like this. Have you ever stood in front of a mirror and gone, love you, Trav? I'm not saying you would say love you, Trav. I'm saying, so the point is, but have you ever done that? You know what? How do you expect anyone else to like you if you don't like yourself? So the idea is he gets himself into a, because it actually works with the subconscious, so I'm please do that. There's so much more I could go through. Like you were saying, I could talk for 8 hours. So all I'm going to say to you is this. Some of you might be sitting in a state right now where you feel frustrated, all right? And I know it's a Tony Robbins thing again, but I can't help it. I've learned so much from these sort of individuals. And he has a great saying. I'll look at this in my office every single day. I showed Julie the other day. This is my favourite thing to look at when things just aren't right. And all it says is, success is just on the other side of frustration. So you can either give up or you can keep pushing through. There's an interesting analogy you were saying about the chair. Because this is what, you did the chair thing. Oh no, I apologise, Em. You're doing the chair thing, the barrier thing. You know, some people do that. What they do is they bash against the barrier, they bash against the barrier, they bash against the barrier, they bash against the barrier. Walk around the barrier. Pretty simple. Why would you bash up against that for so long and do yourself a disservice? You know, there's just another way to do it. Just do it differently. That's it. There is so much more I could talk to you guys about, and I'm going to work with Emily very closely on, we're going to actually do some more on the, especially with this, I can see this just expanding massively and touching more people, except for the people that didn't turn up, their band. And so, what, is that wrong? Yeah. Are we recording this? Yeah. All right. So the point is, look, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to ask one more thing. Just for 10 seconds, just think about one thing you're going to action tomorrow. And if you don't action it tomorrow, it's not going to happen. I guarantee you, you must action one thing tomorrow. Just really write down on your books one thing you know you must action tomorrow, or write on the page that I must get up in the morning and put down one thing I need to action. Write it down now for me, please. All right. First of all, before I finish up, Em, thanks. This is a great forum, and this is absolutely brilliant. If I can be more a part of this, you've got me. You had me at hello. And ladies and gentlemen, look, I truly, everyone says it's a nonchalant where you say good luck and so forth, and I certainly do want to say, look, I just wish you all the best. I think that you can be part of the best of the best. Just pursue your dreams. You don't have to apologise for who you are. Just be who you are and make sure you smash it. Thank you.